Hello Girl Scouts, I'm Ranger Amanda.
And I'm Ranger Mary.
And this is Ranger Daisy. She'll be joining us on our adventure. As former Girl Scouts, Ranger Mary and I know that there's lots to love about state parks, especially South Mountains. We're park rangers at South Mountain State Park, which is in southwestern North Carolina, where the mountains meet the Piedmont.
Ranger Amanda, what's your favorite thing about South Mountain State Park?
My favorite thing about South Mountains is the cold, clear, clean streams we have. I like to hike and splash around and go see waterfalls. What do you love about South Mountains?
What I love about South Mountains is that there's so much to do here. You can go hiking, lots of hiking trails, mountain biking, picnicking, fishing, horseback riding, and camping.
I love camping. That's right. South Mountains has lots of camping opportunities for girls and their families. We have an equestrian campground with a horse barn. We have a family campground with tent and RV sites. And for girls that like an extra adventure, we have lots of primitive backpacking options.
Awesome. You know what my favorite thing about camping is?
No, what?
The campfires. I love hanging out by the campfire. And campfire building skills are an essential part of being a Girl Scout. And that includes choosing the right fuels and choosing the right ignition sources. So I think we should go build a campfire right now. What do you think, Ranger Amanda?
Can Ranger Daisy help with our campfire?
Absolutely.
Let's go to the campground.
Let's go.
Hey girls, welcome to our campground at South Mountain State Park. We're in the family campground. The first thing you need to know about planting a fire safely is your location. North Carolina State Parks requires you to have fires only in designated areas. That means in a fire ring, on your campsite, or in a grill if you're using one of our picnic areas. Ranger Mary, what else do we need to know about fire safety?
Good thing to think about is the weather. So if it's going to be hot and windy, you want to check if there's a burn ban. In state parks, we'll post lots of flyers that say burn ban in effect if it's illegal to have a fire. Most days it's okay though, but you want to check the weather first.
Good point. Another thing you want to check after you're in the campground is your surroundings. Make sure there aren't any overhanging branches that are going to reach over your fire. Check the area around. Ranger Daisy, you can't be that close to the fire.
No.
Check your surroundings. Make sure your friends are safe. Remove any dry leaves, anything that's going to catch on fire that you don't want to catch on fire. Ranger Daisy reminds me of another thing about fire safety. Make sure you tie back your long hair and check your clothing to make sure that nothing is going to fall into the fire so that you don't catch on fire.
I'm glad you saved our friend Ranger Daisy. One other thing we want to know about fires is you don't want to leave it unattended. You always want to have somebody nearby that can check on the fire. We don't want the fire to get out of the fire ring and into the brush around us. It could cause a wildfire and it could cause a lot of damage to the environment around us or even some facilities. You also always want to have a bucket of water nearby and a poking stick that's also wet. Anything else, Amanda?
I think that pretty much covers it for fire safety. Remember, girls, keep yourself and your friends safe around the fire. Find somewhere else to play in the park, not around the campfire.
Good idea.
I think we're ready to build our fire.
Oh, good. To have fire needs three things. It needs oxygen, which we have plenty of around us. It needs heat, which we'll talk about heat sources. And it also needs fuel. You can think of this as like a three-legged stool. Each one of these elements, oxygen, heat, and fuel, are a leg of the stool. In order to have fire, we need all three legs on that stool to help it stand up. Remove one of those legs and the stool will fall over. So the fire triangle is oxygen, heat, and fuel.
Thanks, Ranger Mary. Now we know about the fire triangle. we're going to talk about the 3 types of fuel. First, we need really good tinder. Tinder is anything that is very small, like pine needles, dry leaves, or tiny wood shavings. The smaller the better, the drier the better, because that's the very first thing that your spark is going to hit. Next, we have kindling. Kindling is small stuff that's going to stack on top of the tinder, so it will light next. It's better to have kindling smaller than the sizes of your fingers. This is a great job for younger Girl Scouts to do when prepping for a fire, is gathering kindling. Third, we have our fuel. Our fuel is the actual firewood, what's going to burn the best and the longest in our fire. So you want a lot of firewood if you're going to have a big fire. Typically, you want it to be about the size of your arm. That's a good reference, especially for younger girls if they're helping you gather wood. Those are our 3 types of fuel.
Thanks, Ranger Amanda. Let's talk about how we're going to put all this together and build a structure of our fire. We have 3 examples here, and the first one we'll talk about is the pyramid. Excuse me.
Also called the teepee.
It's also called the teepee. You can see the shape. It looks like a teepee or a pyramid. We have our fine fuels in the bottom, and that's where we'll light the fire. And then it preheats the fuels up above, and then heats the larger fuels and eventually ignites everything. So that's our teepee model. My favorite and my go-to is the lean-to, where we have a larger piece of fuel, and then we have the tinder and kindling leaned up against the fuel, and we'll light the tinder and the kindling, and it'll preheat all the rest of the fuels and then ignite from there. A third model is the log cabin. I'm sure everybody's played with Lincoln logs growing up and can make a log cabin with crisscrossing the logs. So then the tinder and the kindling will be, some of the tinder will be in the center, and you ignite that, and that preheats the outer logs, and that'll ignite. And then you can add larger fuel as the fire goes on.
Okay, girls, let's talk about how to light our fire. We need an ignition source. The easiest way to light a fire is with a butane lighter. But those aren't safe for kids to play with, so Girl Scouts don't typically use those. Instead, Girl Scouts should have waterproof safety matches. Waterproof safety matches are also a great idea for a troop to do before a camping trip. You can take regular matches and with Girl Scout leader supervision, dip them in thin layers of wax to coat them so that if they get rained on in your pack, they'll still work later. With waterproof matches, you'll have to strike them a couple of times to rub off that layer, and then when you strike it, it should light. Okay, if you break a match, no big deal. Just add it to your kindling and grab another one. So make sure you've got a full box of matches to start with. Next ignition source we'll talk about is with friction. This is a flint and steel. You use the steel fire striker on the flint rod away from you, not towards you, and it will throw sparks. So make sure you have your tinder ready to catch that spark. A variation on that is a magnesium fire striker. With this, it comes with a magnesium brick. So you'll actually scrape some of the magnesium off in tiny little shavings, add those to your tinder pile, and then use the striker against the strike plate to throw a spark onto your magnesium. This takes a lot more patience and a lot of practice. Great for older girls, but the younger girls might get frustrated with this one. So, waterproof matches, flint and steel. It's great to have tiny little birthday candles as a backup to light with your match. Gives you a little bit longer burn time so that you don't burn your fingertips while you're lighting your fire. Now that we've talked about ignition sources, let's get our fire started.
Let's do it. All right, Ranger Amanda, let's get this fire started. It's hot out here today. How come we're having a fire?
Good question, Ranger Mary. It's like 90 degrees. Not my favorite time to go camping. I like to go camping in the fall or the winter when it's nice to sit by a warm fire for heat. But one of the other things I like to do around a campfire is to just hang out with friends or family and tell stories, or do you have any good jokes?
I'm glad you asked. Did you hear about the fire at the circus?
No.
It was intense.
Good one, Ranger Mary.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do on a campfire is to cook. I love to make s'mores, roast marshmallows, and other yummy desserts.
Absolutely, s'mores are great. I love roasting marshmallows over a campfire. Do you have any?
I do. You want to roast some marshmallows?
Awesome. So girls, marshmallows aren't the only thing that you can roast over a campfire. Why don't you send us your favorite campfire snack recipes? You can email me, Ranger Amanda Lastly, at the email below, or you can email Ranger Mary your favorite campfire snack.
I'd love to hear what you like to do around the campfire.
Campfires are great, just to hang around and relax.
That's right. Well, you know, now that we're almost done roasting marshmallows, it's time to put our fire out in a safe manner. Are you ready?
I'm never ready to put the fire out, but you're right. We can't leave the fire burning unattended.
All right. Thank you, fire.
So girls, our campfire fun today may be over, but you can start planning your next camping adventure so that you can practice your Camp Champ fire skills. You can make reservations at a North Carolina state park near you using our website, which will be posted somewhere on your screen, or call the reservation number, which will also be posted somewhere on your screen. Make your reservation to camp in a North Carolina state park and practice your campfire skills.
That's right. Hope to see you out here soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.